Right now. In this exact moment. Whether you're sitting in perfect silence or screaming down a noisy freeway, something is watching you. It has been watching for centuries. This isn't a fleeting glance. It knows the path you'll walk tomorrow. It knows the choice you'll make in 1 year that will shatter you, and the exact spot where you'll stand on the day your life transforms forever. The mystic Edgar Cayce called this the soul's great road. And here is the sensation that changes everything. This road wasn't paved after you were born. You chose it. Long before your first breath filled your lungs. You mapped every turn. Admit it, that thought is difficult to hold. The idea that your destiny was set in motion before you were even a whisper in your parents' world. Yet, thousands of Cayce's readings insist it's true. He claimed the soul doesn't just pick a time and place to arrive. It selects every person who will stand beside you, every heart you will love, and every one that will break you. He spoke of a place before life. Not heaven, not hell, but something vaster. A realm outside of time and pain. There, among rivers of starlight and forms of pure energy, the soul watches a film reel of its future. On it, every trial, every victory, every crushing defeat. When we face a harsh fate, we whisper, "Why is this happening to me?" But Cayce would answer, "Ask not why, but what for." The soul never chooses the easy path. It chooses the one where there is something vital to learn. He once told a woman her poverty and illness were not punishment. They were a stage in a great play she herself helped design, all to conquer a deep fear of loneliness. That sounds frightening. Now, ask yourself this question. If this is true, how many of your life's decisions did you make before you even existed? That person you met and felt an instant, dizzying recognition with, that was no accident. That choice that tore you apart, but later made perfect sense. It was essential. Without that step, you would not be who you are. Cayce declared that coincidences are illusions. They are only ancient agreements, contracts your soul signed with itself. Welcome to Mystic Whispers of Timeless Wisdom. If you're ready to explore the profound mysteries your soul chose long before you were born and after death, subscribe to the channel. Because this is just the beginning of the journey back to yourself. If you could see the entire picture of your life from start to finish, you would not weep for your losses. You would not rage against your defeats. You would understand. It is all part of one immense mosaic, and you laid every single piece with your own hands. This idea terrifies us. We fear the unknown. We fear death, and we fear what may wait beyond it. But there is a deeper, more chilling fear. The thought that we are the sole architects of our own sorrow and our own joy. If that is true, then there is no one left to blame. And this is where the real intrigue begins. If the soul chooses its own path, does that mean we have no free will? Or is the opposite true? Do we possess a freedom so profound we fail to recognize it? Cayce offered a key to this paradox. He said the soul holds two keys. The first unlocks the door to your birth, the broad circumstances of your life. But the second key unlocks the door of choice you face every single day. This is why so many who heard his words began to re-examine their deepest pains. A devastating divorce. The loss of a loved one. Crushing poverty. What if these are not curses? What if they are hints? Signs that you are precisely where you are meant to be. Maybe not where it is comfortable, but exactly where it is important. Every time we cry out, "Why is this so hard for me?" the soul whispers a haunting answer. You asked for this yourself. It sounds unsettling, but the intrigue is only tightening its grip. Because if you believe Cayce, an even stranger secret lies ahead of us. Where does your soul go when your body sleeps? Think about that. Every night, when you fall into oblivion, a part of you travels back. It returns to that same timeless space it knew before birth. These aren't just pretty words. Cayce connected sleep and death with a single, secret thread. When your body rests, your soul goes home. It returns to remember its true nature. There, beyond the reach of time, there are no alarm clocks, no debts, no screaming anxieties. There's only the pure memory of everything you have ever been. According to Cayce, in this state, your soul can meet those we have lost. Relatives, old friends, even past enemies. It can take counsel with those not yet born and those who left long ago. Imagine it. You are asleep, and at this very moment, the eyes of ancestors from 1,000 years ago are upon you. They whisper answers to you in your dreams. But how many of us have learned to listen? Have you ever woken up with a solution to a problem that tortured you all day? That was not a random stroke of luck. Cayce claimed it was by design. Your soul knows exactly where to go for answers. It seeks counsel in that place without time and brings back a fragment of understanding. But we wake up. We reach for our phones, drown in the news, rush into the noise of the day, and that faint whisper is lost. We ignore the very voice that could guide us. In his readings, Cayce often issued a warning: do not treat life as a meaningless race. Every single moment is an exam you wrote for yourself. Why? To grow stronger where you were weak just yesterday. To understand that even betrayal and searing pain are merely tools, instruments used by the soul to temper itself for something far greater. But this leads us to the most frightening question of all. If the soul planned all of this in advance, does that mean our fate is sealed? Why struggle? Why fight to get back up if the ending is already written? Cayce's answer was simple, yet it holds immense power. The script is written, but the play is yours to perform. No one can take away your right to improvise. Your soul may chart a course through illness, but it will also give you the chance to heal. It may lead you to the shattering betrayal of a loved one, but only so you can learn the profound strength to forgive, or find the courage to walk away and claim your freedom. Every night, when you close your eyes, you return to the place where your invisible contracts are kept. Your soul reviews the map. Where did you turn today? What did you choose? Fear or courage? Each choice is inscribed in an eternal book. This book will one day show you why the next meeting, or the next loss, had to happen exactly as it did. Think about that. If this is true, then there are no random people, no chance encounters. The stranger who shoved you on the subway today, the driver who cursed you in traffic, they might be playing a role you assigned them yourself long before you took your first breath. The stunning truth is that you staged this entire scene. And now, the only question that remains is this: will you play the hero, or will you remain an extra in your own story? While you hear these words, your soul is whispering to you from beyond the horizon of sleep. The question is, do you hear it? Or will you let the noise of the day drown it out again? Cayce insisted that those who learn to listen to this inner voice will one day understand everything. But it requires a courage most of us fear to summon, the courage to look where we are most afraid to look, even in our dreams. If his vision holds, then life is not a chaotic storm of random events. It is a carefully planned puzzle. And this leads us to the most terrifying part. If we choose everything in advance, we bear absolute responsibility not only for our dreams but for our deepest fears. Someone will always ask, why would I ever choose pain? Why would I choose poverty or crushing loneliness? Cayce's answer cuts to the bone: to learn to stare your darkest demons in the eye and not flinch. He described souls as students in a colossal school. Some return again and again, struggling to master a single lesson. Others return as teachers, guiding those just beginning their journeys. This means the roles around you are fluid. You might be the student, or you might be the teacher and not even know it. The person who hurt you deeply in the past, the one whose memory still brings a sting, may have been your mentor in a life before this one. Perhaps they loved you enough to agree to play the villain, also you would grow. This is a frightening, difficult truth to embrace. But doesn't it explain that strange, quiet gratitude we sometimes feel for those who caused us the most pain? The ones who, in breaking us, somehow forced us to rebuild stronger. Cayce said, everything that happens to us, we audit for ourselves. It is like selecting from a menu in an invisible restaurant of fate. We do not choose what is merely pleasant. We choose what will truly nourish the soul with experience. And then what? What happens when the lesson is finally learned? The soul returns. It goes back to that space without time, and there, it prepares a new plan. Cayce once delivered a devastating prediction to a farmer. He told the man he would lose everything: his house, his land, his family. The farmer laughed, dismissing the prophecy as nonsense. But a few years later, it happened exactly as foretold. Crushed by grief, the man returned to Cayce, desperate for answers. And Cayce told him a phrase that would be whispered for decades after: you could have changed it if you had understood why it was given to you. The broken farmer asked, what do I do now? The answer was deceptively simple: accept. Accept it, and start building again. But build as a different man. Here lies the greatest secret. The soul does not deal in good or bad. It only deals in what is necessary. It is necessary to walk through betrayal to truly know the value of loyalty. It is necessary to feel the ache of poverty to understand that the richest treasures are those you cannot hold in your hands. It is necessary to lose those you love so you can one day meet them again in a place where death does not exist. If this is true, then we meet those we love again and again. Different bodies, different names, different roles, but with the same connection, a bond stronger than time itself. Perhaps your mother in this life was your daughter in a past one. Perhaps the friend you grieve was your brother a century ago. This thought cuts like a sharp knife. It slices through everything you thought you knew and refuses to let you sleep soundly. Because if you believe Cayce, then this entire life may be a repeat, a lesson on loop until you finally learn what you came here to understand. And that means you still have a chance to fix it, to learn it, to finally get it right. The only question that matters is this: will you wait for a next life, or will you start changing everything today? But do not rush your answer. A final, powerful riddle remains. If the soul knows the path in advance, can we truly alter it right now? On this, Cayce said something that still keeps thousands awake at night. He once declared words that even his most devoted followers struggle to immediately accept. Every person can change what he has drawn for himself. Feel the immense weight of that statement. If you believe him, no karma is a life sentence. Nothing is chained to you forever. Everything can be rewritten, but not by anyone else's hand, only by your own. He taught that between lives, the soul chooses the main turns of the path, the major crossroads. But how you navigate those turns, the spirit you bring to the journey, is always left to your will. It all depends on a single, fragile thing. Whether you choose to hear the quiet whisper of your conscience, your intuition, your dreams. Most of us ignore this voice. We dismiss it as foolishness or meaningless anxiety. But Cayce insisted, it is through this very inner whisper that the soul tries to speak. It hints when it's time to turn, to stop, or to finally take a step forward, even when every fiber of your being is afraid. Think. How many times have you felt that sudden, cold stab inside? Don't go there. Don't say that. Call him, now, before it's too late. How many times did you ignore it, only to watch everything collapse and think, I knew it? According to Cayce, that was the moment fate could have turned. And you looked away. The stunning intrigue is this: even the hardest destiny can be softened if a person learns to hear that whisper and dares to act on it. This is why he always urged people to pray not for wealth or health, but for understanding. Understanding is the master key that unlocks doors where only walls stood before. He often repeated, your soul is the architect, but you are the builder. You can be given a flawless, magnificent blueprint and still build a crooked, crumbling house if you act with laziness and ignore the cracks. You can be born into immense wealth and die in poverty. You can be born into nothing and become a light for millions. Everything is decided by what you choose to do with the bricks you were handed at birth. But there is a point even more frightening. Cayce warned that if a person stubbornly ignores their inner voice, if they continually rage against their soul's chosen path, life itself begins to push back. Illness, misfortune, loneliness. These are not punishments from an angry God. They are the universe's desperate attempt to turn you around, to steer you back toward the path you originally drew for yourself. When you refuse to hear the quiet whisper, life has no choice but to start shouting. Through pain, through loss. Now, stop. Look at your own life. Ask yourself, where is my life currently whispering to me? And where, perhaps, has it already begun to shout? Is there something you keep putting off, a change you are too afraid to make? Cayce would say, do not wait for a next life. Fix it now. Because no one can promise you the next circle will be easier. It might only be harder if you arrive having failed the same lesson once again. People are terrified of this responsibility. It is so much easier to blame the government, our parents, fate, or a jealous friend. But if Cayce's teaching holds truth, then the ultimate secret is this: there are no guilty parties. There is only you, and your choices. So what awaits us after the final breath? Cayce described a realm beyond our simplest ideas of heaven or hell. He said there is no fire, no wrathful judge. Instead, the soul returns home, to that space without time. And the first thing it does is watch a film of its own life. Every thought, every word, every action, laid bare. There are no lies there, no masks. Only you, facing the absolute truth of who you are. This isn't about punishment. It's about understanding. The soul's only fear is that it will have to return, to repeat the lessons it failed to learn. This is why Cayce said the most frightening thing isn't death, it's an empty life. A life lived without purpose, forgiveness, or love is a ticket back. Another lap around the same track. But he also offered the ultimate key to breaking that cycle: forgiveness. Forgiving others, and most importantly, forgiving yourself. He claimed that a single, sincere act of forgiveness could shatter karma built over centuries. One choice to love can burn away the debt of 1,000 past mistakes. Your soul doesn't want your suffering. It wants your growth. It wants you to learn, so you can finally come home. Your call to action is not for tomorrow. It is for this very moment. Tomorrow, when you wake up, ask one simple question. Soul, what do you need to learn today? Who do I need to forgive? Then listen. Not with your ears, but with your quietest self. If you feel a nudge to reach out, to let go, to change, act on it. That is your soul trying to rewrite the script. Maybe you won't see tunnels of light or remember past lives. But if you release one old resentment today, you have already changed your story. You have taken a step off the wheel and toward the light. You are not a body with a soul. You are a soul, temporarily using a body. And if that is true, then everything you think is an ending is merely a pause. The final lesson, the ultimate purpose, is to learn to forgive. Everything else is just background noise. Start now.